there was no one else. This particular long holiday, the isolation was more pronounced, setting the stage for a drastic change that was both terrifying and unnecessary. But that's a story for another day. Who is there? Emma called out, his voice echoing slightly in the empty apartment.
I see you, my heart, baby. A lady of all men's dreams. You be the one.
Hi guys, meet Emma. Before I dive into this story, please consider subscribing to the channel for more tales. Now, let's get started. Growing up, Emma's life was far from the norm you might expect for a kid. Let me take you back to when Emma was just 10 years old, living in what felt more like a prison than a home. The apartment was always too quiet, filled with nothing but the faint buzz of an old fridge, and Emma's mom was hardly ever there. Emma's memory of her mom are just fleeting glimpses or the sound of the door slamming as she left yet again. Emma, I'll be back later, okay? Don't wait up. That was her usual goodbyes. Not that she ever asked if Emma had eaten or done his homework. Emma's grandparents, who had been his true guardians, had passed away not long before leaving him in a void of care and affection. One day, as Emma tried to make a meal out of some rice and stew that had been around for who knows how long, he heard the lock turn. It was Lydia coming home in the early hours, probably from another night out. Emma, why are you still up? It's late. I was just trying to make some dinner. There is not much left to eat. He scoffed, brushing past him to head to her room. You need to learn to take care of yourself better. I am not always going to be here to do these things for you. The irony of her words stung. Take care of myself? I had been doing just that because you are never around. At school, it was a daily struggle. His clothes were too big or too small, never right. Always second-hand or older than him. Hey, why do your clothes always look like that? Is what I have, he replied, shrugging, trying to brush off the embarrassment while poking at the food the school provided, which was often the only meal Emma could count on. Don't you have anything better? You always look like you are wearing someone else's clothes. These comments cut deep, but he learned to keep his head down and bear it, retreating further into his shell. Back at the apartment, Lydia was either absent or too caught up in her own issues to notice Emma. I want some money tonight. We are going out to eat. These moments were rare, but that's her attempt at parenting, fleeting and inconsistency. It felt like being tossed a lifeline, only to have it yanked away just as quickly. The rest of the time, Emma was alone, truly alone. There was no one to ask how school went or if he needed help with his homework. No warmth, no laughter. Emma was just surviving, not living. And each day was a test of just how much a kid could handle on his own. As nights grew longer and the food becomes really scarce, Emma wondered how long he could keep going. The loneliness was suffocating, a constant reminder of how much he had to rely on himself because there was no one else. This particular long holiday, the isolation was more pronounced, setting the stage for a drastic change that was both terrifying and unnecessary. But that's a story for another day. Who is there? Emma called out, his voice echoing slightly in the empty apartment as he approached the door hesitantly. It had been days since he heard another human's voice in person. It's me, Mr. P. I need to talk with your mother, Lydia. Is she home? Peeking through the peephole, Emma saw an older man, his feature drawn with concern. She's not here. She hasn't been for a while now. Opening the door, Emma could see Mr. P's eyes widen as he got in. Emma's appearance was a lot. How long have you been alone here, boy? I don't know, sir. It's actually been a few weeks, I think. Mr. P stepped inside. Setting his briefcase down, he surveyed the scant contents of their kitchen, empty cabinets, and a nearly barren fridge. This isn't right. You shouldn't be alone like this. It's usually just me here. Mom comes and goes, he said. A gesture meant to seem casual, but Mr. P could tell. He didn't hide the underlying worry. Let's get you some food first. Then we need to get you to a hospital. You don't look well, Emma. Mr. P's tone was firm, yet kind. A strange mix that Emma wasn't used to, but somehow welcomed it. At the hospital, while he was being checked by doctors, Mr. P talked to the police and human welfare. Emma overheard bits and pieces, severe neglect, no guidance, needs immediate care. The words floated around the room, stark and clinical, yet frightened. How long can a kid survive alone like that? One of the officers muttered to another. This one is really tough, but it shouldn't have to be that way. As they talked, a social worker approached Emma, his expression a mix of concern and professionalism. Emma, can you tell me about the last few weeks? How have you been managing? I just tried to keep going. I thought my mom would come back like she always does. His voice was small, swallowed up by the bustling activity of the hospital. We are going to make sure you are safe now. No child should have to wonder when their next meal will be or if they will be alone. Back at the apartment later, Mr. P still by Emma's side. They gathered some of his belongings. Each item felt heavier than it should be, weighed down by memories and the sudden shift in his world. Do you have anyone else, Emma? Any other family? No, it's just been me and my mom for as long as I can remember, and my grandparents before, but they are gone. You will stay with me for now. We will figure this out together. Okay. His assurance was a balm to the constant anxiety that had gnawed at him for weeks. As they left the apartment, he couldn't help but feel a mix of relief and deep, aching sadness. The life he knew was behind him, and ahead was something entirely unknown. But for the first time in a long while, he wasn't facing it alone. How do you feel about staying with me for a while, Emma? Mr. P asked as they drove away from the hospital. His car was clean and smelled faintly of mint, a stark contrast to the musty air of his old apartment. Thank you, Mr. P. I don't really know what to say, he fumbled with the seatbelt, not used to the kindness of a near stranger. Just say you will try to make yourself at home. We will figure out the rest together. Arriving at Mr. P's house was like stepping into another world. It was modest but well kept, with a small garden out front that had flowers blooming even in the shade. Inside, everything had a place, and there was a sense of peace Emma hadn't known in years. This is your room, he said, showing him to a small room with a window that looked out over the backyard. I hope you'll be comfortable here. It's perfect. The bed had clean sheets, and there were even some books on a shelf. Emma wondered about the last time he had a room that felt like it was really his. Over the next few weeks, Mr. P showed him routines he hadn't known. They had meals at regular times, and he taught him how to cook simple dishes. You need to hold a knife like this, he demonstrated, while chopping vegetables. Cooking is not just about feeding yourself, it's about taking care of yourself. You know, I never really cooked before. Mom didn't use the kitchen that much. Well, I am no chef, but I can teach you a few things. As days turned into weeks, Emma started to help out around the house, watering the plants and even trying his hands at gardening. One evening, while they were watching TV, Mr. P turned to Emma. "There is a school nearby. When you are ready, I thought maybe you could start attending. What do you think?" "School? I like that. I want to catch up. Maybe make some friends." "Good. And hey, you will have support this time, not just from the teachers, but from me too." Every night before bed, Mr. P will check in on Emma. "Everything okay? Do you need anything?" "No, I am good. Thank you, Mr. P, for everything." It's what family does, Emma, and right now we are family. His words settled in his chest, heavy but comforting. Family wasn't just about blood. It was about who stood by you when you needed it most. As Emma lay on the bed that night, feeling safe, he realized this was the beginning of a new chapter. As he settled into adulthood, his past became a foundation he used to build a new future, not a shadow to hide within. After excelling in his studies, driven by a relentless desire to never return to his earlier days of neglect, he landed a solid job in the tech industry. It was there that he met Anna, a co-worker whose brilliance and warmth quickly made her stand out. "Hey, we've got a meeting with the client in 10, ready to knock them dead," Anna said, flashing a smile as she popped her head into Emma's office one morning. "Absolutely," he responded, shifting gears from coding to client relation. Anna and Emma grabbed coffee in the break room, and with their growing relationship, they had dinner after dinner. Their bond strengthened. They began spending weekends, discovering new things, and their conversation ventured beyond work, touching on dreams and personal histories. One evening, Anna looked up to Emma, curiosity in her eyes. "Emma, you don't talk much about your family. What were your parents like?" Taking a deep breath, Emma decided to open up, trusting her with his past. "My mom, well, she wasn't never around. I was raised mostly by a guardian who helped me out of a tough spurt when I was a kid." "That sounds tough, but it seems you turned out pretty amazing." "Thanks, Anna. It means a lot coming from you." Their connection deepened, and soon Anna met Mr. P, Emma's guardian, who instantly approved of her. His endorsement meant the world to Emma, reinforcing his feelings. Their relationship progressed naturally, and before long, they were married and started a family, bringing children into the world. Shifted Emma's focus from surviving to providing, a challenge he embraced wholeheartedly. "Your dad is the hardest worker I know. He's overcome a lot but always make sure we are okay," Emma overheard Anna telling their son Lucas one afternoon. "Really, Mom?" Lucas asked, his young face full of wonder. "Absolutely. Your dad is one of the good ones." Determined to provide a different childhood for his kids, Emma engaged in every aspect of their lives, from bedtime stories to attending school functions. He was a present dad. "You are the best dad ever," Lucas whispered one evening as he tucked him in. "Thanks, buddy. You make it easy to be a good dad." "Now get some sleep," he replied, the weight of his words warming Emma's heart. One day, Emma received a phone call. "Hello, Emma. It's Lydia. I know it's been years, but I need to see you." Emma was shocked. The phone call was unexpected. Lydia's voice, a distant echo from a past Emma had worked hard to leave behind. At dinner, Emma discussed it with Anna. His mind conflicted. "My mother, Lydia, called after all these years. She wants us to meet." "What are you thinking of doing?" Anna asked. I don't know. It's just so complicated. Can someone really change that much? People can change, but that doesn't erase the past. Whatever you decide, I am with you. The next day, Emma met Lydia at a local cafe, a public place. Lydia seemed older, her eyes carrying the weight of years Emma knew nothing about. Emma, I can't tell you how sorry I am. I was a terrible mother, but I've gotten help. I have changed. I want to be part of your life, if you will let me. Lydia, I appreciate you seeking help and changing. That's important for you. But for me, for my children, I need to be cautious. The past, it left deep scars. I understand, I do, but I'm your mother, Emma. Doesn't that mean something to you? It does. It means I learn what kind of parents I don't want to be. My kids are my priority, and I need to protect them just as I needed someone to protect me back then. Lydia's eyes filled with tears, a sight that once might have moved Emma. Please, Emma, I just want a chance to make things right, right? Making things right isn't just about saying sorry. It's about living with the choices we've made. I've built a life, Lydia. I have a family who depends on me, and I can't disrupt that, not for anything. Lydia nodded slowly, the finality of Emma's decision settling between them. I hope you can forgive me, even if you can't let me in. Maybe one day, but for now, I need to do what's best for my family. As Emma walked away, the weight of the encounter pressed deep on him, yet he felt a certain clarity. Protecting his family was his absolute priority, a commitment shaped by the failures of his own parents. Back home, Emma found Anna playing in the yard with Lucas and their daughter, Sophie. "Everything okay?" Anna asked as he joined them. "Yeah, it is settled. I think I did the right thing. What matters most is here, and that's with you all, my family now." As the sun set, casting long shadows across Emma's happy home, he was reminded of the journey he had taken from a neglected child to a father and a husband. He had not just survived, he had thrived. Breaking the cycle of neglect, the story of Emma has now come to an end, and it leaves us with much to reflect on about family, forgiveness, and personal growth. Here is a question to consider. Do you believe people can change enough to be forgiven for past wrong, even if those wrongs were as severe as Lydia's neglect of Emma? Should Emma had given Lydia a chance to be part of his life again? What do you think? Drop your thoughts and experience in the comments below. I am really interested to hear different perspectives on this. If you found this story moving or thought-provoking, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. Your support helps us keep bringing these stories to you. Let's keep the conversation going. Till I see you again in my next story. Goodbye.